So guys, one Mac that's been missing from Apple's lineup for a while is the larger iMac, specifically the 27-inch model, also known as the iMac Pro. We saw one of these models introduced in 2017, but since then, Apple released the new 24-inch iMac in 2021 with a 23.5-inch display, and no larger iMac has been released since. So the big question is, will we be getting a larger iMac soon, and if so, what new features might it have? The last time we saw a larger iMac was in 2020, which was actually one of the last Apple devices to feature an Intel chip. It was released in August 2020, marking the final generation of that model. Fast forward about 7 months, and Apple introduced the new 24-inch iMac. The 24-inch iMac has had its share of ups and downs since its release. When it first came out, it was impressive because of how thin it was, and the addition of the M1 chip made it even more appealing. Some people weren't sure about the design and color choices, but then, in 2023, the iMac received an update with the M3 chip. Finally, at the end of 2024, the iMac got another upgrade with the M4 chip, and the colors were slightly tweaked, improving the design. It also introduced new accessories, like the USB-C Magic Mouse and an updated keyboard, which was a nice touch. In 2022, we saw the launch of the Mac Studio, which many people consider to be the replacement for the larger iMac. Alongside the Mac Studio, Apple introduced the Studio Display, a 27-inch screen that uses the same panel found in the iMac 27-inch models from around 2014 to 2020. The only difference is that it's now a standalone display and it has an A13 chip to manage the screen, but not much else has changed. While the Mac Studio is still a compact desktop, it's not as small as the iMac. It's a bit different because with the Mac Studio, you have to buy both the Mac Studio and the Studio Display separately, unlike the all-in-one iMac. It's a totally different setup when comparing it to an older iMac 27-inch, and you're essentially dealing with two separate devices instead of one unified system. So, the big question is, will we be getting another 27-inch iMac in the near future? Probably not. According to the report, we were even told by someone who worked at Apple that they're not planning to make a 27-inch iMac anymore. Now, there are two ways to interpret this. One is that Apple might never make a larger iMac again, but the other possibility is that they're simply saying they won't make a 27-inch model specifically. This could open the door for new options like a 30-inch, 32-inch, or even a 34-inch iMac. Especially now, you can easily find all-in-one machines with displays as large as 30 inches, and there are even standalone large displays over 30 inches. So it actually makes sense for Apple to integrate all the components into the back of one of these bigger monitors and release it as an all-in-one desktop. What can we expect from a larger iMac? At this point, it's most likely that it will feature the M4 Pro chip and possibly even the M4 Max. Maybe the M4 Pro is almost certain, but the M4 Max is more of a toss-up. After all, the M4 Max is already available in devices like the Mac Studio, which starts at $2,000. If Apple were to include an M4 Max in a new iMac with a bigger display, we could be looking at a price of $3,000 to $3,500. In fact, that's around the cost of an M2 Mac Studio, combined with the Studio Display, which isn't exactly cheap. Because of this, maybe Apple would go down that road, as it would make the iMac prohibitively expensive. If Apple is introducing a larger display and a bigger iMac, it's possible that the iMac Pro we saw in 2017 could make a return. This would justify a higher price, potentially around $3,500. You might be wondering if this is all just speculating about a new iMac. Well, we actually have some more evidence. Mark Gurman recently shared that Apple hasn't abandoned the idea of a larger iMac and believes it's still in the works. However, it's important to note that this news is recent, and we haven't heard any official confirmation that Apple is actively working on a new model or design. If this new iMac does come, it will likely feature a mini LED display and possibly include ProMotion technology, since that's what the current MacBook Pros offer. ProMotion up to 120 Hz and mini LED. For Apple to position this as a pro-level iMac or desktop, it will likely need to include these advanced features. So it seems quite likely that this will be the case. If the new iMac is set for release in 2025, we'll need to see more leaks soon to confirm it. However, if it does arrive in 2025, it is expected to be around the end of October or November. Over the past few years, Apple has typically announced new Macs during this time, so it makes sense for them to follow that pattern. This would likely be the case if the iMac features the M4 Pro and M4 Max chips. It seems like the M5 will first be aimed at the next-gen iPad Pro, with other devices following later. As of now, the iPad Pro is expected to launch by the end of 2025 or early 2026. We'll have to wait and see what leaks and rumors reveal, but with everything we've learned today, are you excited about the possibility of a new, larger iMac? Would you be willing to buy it, even if it costs $3,500 or more, based on the pricing of the Mac Studio and Studio Display? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. We'll see you again soon. Bye!